And now from entertainment, it's time for us to jump to the next gen as the stage is getting set. As businesses navigate rapid technological change, evolving consumer expectations, and a shifting economic landscape, the next generation of leaders is redefining what leadership looks like. They're building on strong foundations while bringing fresh perspectives, embracing innovation, and making decisions that will shape the future of Indian enterprise. Now, this particular session up next, the discussion, brings together three leaders who are leading from the front. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on stage, please welcome Ms. Pavitra Shankar, Managing Director, Brigade Group, Ms. Mansi Virani, Director, Balaji Wafers, Ms. Devata Saraf, Founder, Chairperson, and CEO, The View Group. And to moderate this discussion, I would like to welcome Ms. Urvashi Mishra, Senior Business Correspondent, Fortune India.
Good evening, everyone, and I hope you're having a great evening so far. To begin with, today's leaders, just like the stellar panelists that we have here, you are all making very tough decisions in a world that's being constantly disrupted. I mean, technology is evolving, consumer expectations keep shifting, and you have to balance your business. I'm sure you have to deliver growth while balancing sustainability, say resilience, and also long-term value, right? Plus, you have to keep up with Gen Z and their lingo as well. So let's dive straight in with you, Pavitra. So the Brigade Group has completed 40 years this year. And as we all understand, family businesses, they have the advantage of long-term thinking, but they can be maybe slower in their decision making. So as a next generation leader, how have you sort of navigated your leadership and how are you taking your business forward?
So I think in our business, we are in a stage of transitioning a lot of the decision making. So in family-run businesses, a lot of the major long-term bets are made by the promoter group, and I think that is one thing that still should stay. So long-term bets, legacy influencing decisions, that should be done by the family. But there are also a lot of decisions that the family, continues to make, which should be delegated to the rest of the organization and to professionals within the organization. And that, I think, is where we are today, identifying which are those decisions, giving that framework and ability for someone to have accountability and also the authority for making those decisions. And, for us, it's been a challenge, and what we're going through right now is ensuring we do that across different geographies as we expand. Real estate is a very, very local business. So being able to do that while keeping the company ethos and culture, but yet having others take that forward on your behalf and for you is, I think, where we are today. But I would say in real estate, family-run businesses are able to take decisions a little faster, actually. It's more about codifying that and helping professionals take them in the same manner that we would, so that we can scale up as well.
Okay, great. Mansi, coming to you, Balaji has been fiercely independent in a pool of large FMCG players, and you've just stepped into leadership. So what are your goals and how are you maybe taking your business forward?
So, for everybody's knowledge, I recently joined our business last September. So as a new leader, I think I'm learning a lot from Gen Zs, where I and even other people from our generation had to adapt to their leadership style, because there has been certain way that previous generation has been working, because that's how it has always been done. But people now are not afraid to challenge the assumptions or the stereotypes, right? So I think changing mindset with the generation is very important. And one of the important things that I am trying to implement is expectations versus agreements. I think expectations kind of have a little negative emotion. It can raise negative emotions in people. It also sets a hierarchy that you are expecting something out of someone and they sometimes can take pressure on themselves and they may not always deliver. Whereas agreements allows both the parties to be on the same page, and it sets a very positive note when it comes to delivering results. So that is one of the leadership styles I'm adopting, and yeah, it's going good.
So do you have any specific goals for your first year of leadership?
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to the goals, I do have certain points, certain goals when it comes to my background, where FMCG companies previously did not have a lot of reliability when it comes to technology or AI, because we did not give a lot of importance to the data that these companies generate. But with the advancement of technologies, with the importance of data, the pool of data that the companies are generating, I think you can generate a lot of insights from this. You can make intelligent decisions using this information, and especially with the onset of the AI world, I do want to incorporate these advancements in Balaji wafers as well, and try to automate things that are currently being done manually, because it also makes the lives of the people easy. So that is one of our primary goals.
Got it. Coming to you, Devita, I mean, your journey is quite different. Your father built Zenith Computers, but you still chose to find your own way. And in a very fiercely competitive market, I must say. So looking back, what would you say, what was the toughest challenge you had when you had to sort of carve out your own identity?
First of all, thank you for having me on this panel. I'm personally a little surprised to be called on a next gen panel because I started my company, View Televisions, 20 years ago this July. And I've been on the Fortune list for the past 10 years. But then the Fortune team said, as long as you look next gen, you're going to be on this panel. So whatever compliment they gave, I'm going to take it. Speaking honestly, I think I entered the family business because, if you're ambitious and you've grown up role models around you who are powerful, resourceful, financially strong, you have that vision yourself. And my brother and I both did train at Zenith early on. However, when I studied in the US and I came back, I always found that Indian companies tend to have, even now, the mindset of being a sort of price leader. There were not that many premium companies which are innovation based. And that's the vision that I had an entrepreneur that I wanted to build. Now, in 20 years, we've been able to achieve that vision. We are a profitable, debt-free company that's owned by myself, and we compete straight with the likes of Sony, Samsung. So I think the biggest thing is the child of an entrepreneur is always an entrepreneur. You can't expect them to be a professional manager. They will always have the drive to be rebellious and do things themselves. And I always felt that the problem with a lot of Indian, in general, we're such a large country, but we still have this fear that someone from abroad is going to come and destroy us. And I don't think I've ever had that fear, because having studied abroad, I realized that at the end of the day, it's the same, story of entrepreneurship everywhere. So in 20 years, we've been able to execute this vision. We have nicely beaten the rubbish out of, a lot of foreign players that have come in. We've been able to be an Indian premium brand that stands on its own legs. And in 20 years, I think the challenge of making your own identity is, first, at the beginning, maybe you may start a company based on your vision. But so many years later, it's about what you've built and being loyal to what you've built. Now it's more about my team and everyone and the 40 lakh customers around it, and not just about me. So when you did ask this question, what was it like when I first started out? I don't think I remember anymore. I think I'm proud of the business plan I wrote at that age, but I don't remember what it was like because, I'm always just thinking of the future. Nice. So yeah, I think personally, as they were also mentioning, it's a very heavy crown when you come from a family business, and there is this expectation. But if you have a vision, if you have a drive, if you have the ambition, if you kind of know what you're doing, whether you do it within a family business, whether you do it as an entrepreneur outside, that doesn't matter. You kind of just have to be driven by what you see your company to be.
Absolutely right. So this question goes out to all of you because I'm sure every generation believes that they are going into a more complex world than the last one. But we've had military conflict, AI disruptions, and I mean weather complexities, global conflict in the last 1 year. So what uncertainty really worries you most as a business leader, and how are you navigating that shift and these disruptions?
I actually think that you can get very swayed by uncertainty, and very quickly that can, cause to fear, or maybe pushing you into a place where you're not, ready to take the kind of decisions that you need to make. So really, I focus on what isn't changing, not so much on what's changing constantly, but what isn't changing. And in our business, of course, with the war happening in Iran, with AI, of course, how it's going to impact jobs, whether there'll be any jobs at all, and therefore what will happen to commercial real estate, what will happen to residential real estate. All of these are the questions that the industry is getting barraged with at the moment. It's really about what's not going to change. People are still going to need physical space to live somewhere or do some amount of work, or if not work, then we need to build data centers. So, there are all these kinds of opportunities that are going to come up if you keep looking at what's not going to change. So uncertainty today causes you to maybe make some hasty decisions. I think that's what you need to stay away from, and really look at what your business can focus on to create that niche and competitive advantage that no one can really take away from you. So focusing on really what makes sense for your customer down the road as those needs are evolving is what you need to take care of.
That's a great perspective. And Mansi, what do you want to add?
Yeah, so we come from very humble beginnings, and we have faced a lot of uncertainties even in our previous generations. Balaji Wafers actually started because of uncertainty, because we are from a family of farmers, and there was a drought in our ancestral village, because of which my father and my uncles, they had to leave everything and move to the city, which brought the business into existence. So given this, we take uncertainties as opportunities more than challenges and threats. And they come in different ways. Earlier, they were mostly in the form of, weather anomalies, money, investments, and now, as you mentioned, they are in the form of war or global crisis. But we have learned from our experience, and we have a plan B, we have a fail-safe mechanism where we have multiple sources to rely on. For example, when it comes to gas, oil, or other raw materials. And our center is customer satisfaction. So even because of any uncertainties, we have to incur losses. We are open to that temporarily, but our aim is to keep our customers satisfied and provide them the top quality products.
Got it. Yes, Devita.
I agree with Pavitra in what she said, about, you have to see what you have. Because honestly, the way 2026 has been, you cannot predict anything. You only have to build your own resilience. So whether it's your team, your financial stability, your sort of, vendor relations, distribution, whatever it may be, that you may think is the moat of your business. This is one of those black swan environments where something on a macroeconomic level can come and affect you that you would never have imagined. So definitely, I think this generation and this world with all this uncertainty will have to make it a new normal and navigate and see what are the business opportunities in it. So for example, people have been talking about AI as this sort of elephant in the room, that it's all going to come and destroy us, etc. See, I'm a tech entrepreneur. For me, AI is an opportunity. And I think those who will really ride the AI wave, there'll be so many new jobs, new industries, new economies that will open up, that I think especially for Indians, this is a very good time to look at how AI can take us and make us, global first in different industries. Because we generally are a very intelligent country. And with the right resources, as some of the previous panelists mentioned, I think that we should look at the VUCA world, the uncertain world, as an opportunity, because we as Indians are already resilient. We as Indians, as she said, are already, able to make the best of a bad situation. So I think while a lot of the world is very stuck in their ways of working and cannot handle these kind of changes, for all of us here, entrepreneurs, founders, businesswomen, I think the uncertain world requires some Indian ingenuity.
Got it. So since we're just short on time, let's do quick rapid fire responses from all of you. You're all now leading a workforce that's increasingly Gen Z and then soon to be Gen Alpha. So what's one learning that you want to sort of imbibe from that generation into your own leadership style? Maybe one word each. We can start with you.
Well, maybe not one word, but I love that Gen Z just asks for what they want, as opposed to being told you should be grateful that you have this. And I think that's great, and everyone should know how to ask for what they want and advocate for themselves. So maybe the word is advocacy.
Right, great. Mansi.
I think asking uncomfortable questions and challenging stereotypes and assumptions, because that's what brings out innovation, which is very valuable for big organizations and businesses.
Got it.
Honestly, you cannot control the Gen Z. So the only thing that you can do is give them a great vision and let them bring out their sort of fearless drive in being with you and executing that vision.
Got it. On that note, I think just the key takeaway is that we have to be agile and focus on what is not being changed, right? So thank you all of you for being such a good panel, and thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Thank you for having us.